Good evening. This is a meeting of the Rutland Conservation Commission on September 17th at 7 o'clock. We are open. For those who don't know, this meeting is being broadcast live on Channel 192 in Rutland and will be broadcast later on both channels and other internet fora. Minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes of September 3rd, 2019.
I'd like to make one correction. In the minutes, third page, last line, and change co-chairman to vice chairman.
But that's what I said, was co-chairman. He did what I said. But I'll still approve the minutes with that change. Co-vice, same difference.
Oh, no, co implies two equals.
Yeah.
Vice,
Well, when he's not
think he
there, then
just
you're the
demeaned
equal to
himself.
him. And vice versa, right?
The chairman of
let's see, if
vice,
we
right?
co-chairman, then we might get into a brawl.
I am lesser.
Okay.
Did anybody actually second the motion?
I'll
Second.
second.
Oh, you can take it.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Everybody read them?
Yeah.
Because that was a fast motion.
I read them all.
Other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Julian, you have a submission. Get in and get out. Please.
Piece of property on Molten Mill Road. There is the check for the fee, and then the Telegram Gazette. And that, I remember.
On time. Outstanding.
It's a single-family home, work in the buffer zone only, owned by Eric Woolander. And it's on a 23-acre parcel of property. Just a real quick overview. This is just a portion of the property. It's a big piece of property
Mm-hmm.
off of Molten Mill Road. And there's an existing driveway that goes all the way back to, actually right to where the house is going, so gravel drive. And he just wants to build a house there now. But we have work in the buffer zone, so he wants to, create a lot, and he wants a turnaround driveway. So that's pretty much, his dream is to have a garage that you can drive right through and go out. That's the.
Where is this the 200 from? Back here
From
somewhere?
way back over
Way
there.
back there, okay.
Yeah. So outside of that,
And there's the 100, okay.
so, there's a bunch of stuff in here that shows everything in detail.
Any fast questions for him?
Can you just email the NOI and plan to Tamika?
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep.
I believe the next meeting would be October 1st, is that correct?
That sounds
That
right.
sounds
Okay. We'll schedule for then at 7:10.
Yes, please.
Great.
You're exactly right, October 1.
Perfect. Thank you very much. We'll see you then.
Thanks, see you then.
Have a good night,
Take
Julian.
care. I'll stop and see you. Yeah, please.
So we have 6 minutes to kill right now.
Did we get the, project number for this?
I have not seen it.
Tamika, did the project number come in for, Hernandez?
It did.
Good.
Yep.
Uh,
I'm just opening the mail now.
So we'll get to our correspondences in due time, I suppose.
Oh, all right.
It's fine.
We did get one piece of registered mail,
I'm opening that.
Actually, you got 2 pieces of registered mail.
two.
I picked it up today, that's how I know.
Yeah, this is the one that Sean was working on. I had gone down there and, couldn't get access to the property.
Hmm.
So I think what we need to do here is, schedule a mutual agreeable site walk with the gentleman. and actually, get access in there. Because you really couldn't see much from the rail trail.
Right.
Right.
And he tried knocking on doors and didn't get any answers, tried screaming over the fence. And the one door that did open had nothing to do with it. So,
So you're talking, is that Glenwood?
yeah, that's
So
141.
it's not that gated house, it's the next one, and 2 houses down.
Yeah, he went to each of the houses.
Because the little house is empty, he lives in the other one. He's an airplane mechanic.
Yeah, so I think we need to either send him a letter, does he give contact information?
You got that? And a phone number.
Okay. Because the phone number is New Hampshire.
Right.
That's the cell.
Alrighty.
So what exactly is the letter about?
So,
That
we-
there is a, if I may,
please.
there was some work done down there by the rail trail,
Right, I remember that.
and it's conservation-owned land, DCR. The problem with it is according to the owner of the property, they've diverted drainage, stormwater, onto his property, and he's lost quite a bit of hardwoods. Apparently, he was planning on using it for some logging or something. I'm not sure what. But he's claiming that he's been materially damaged by that diversion. What he wants to do going forward with it, I'm not sure, but I think that's why we need to probably sit down
Get
with
together.
him.
Yep. For the record, dear Mr. Delaquila, we spoke back in May about the flooding on my property as well as my abutters. I've not heard anything since. I was wondering what has been discussed by the board and if any action has been or will be taken. If you take a look at Google Earth and put in the address of my mother's house, 131 Glenwood Road, you will be able to see that the marsh is 524 feet from Molten Pond at its closest point. I'm not an environmental expert by any means, but I think if Molten Pond and this marsh combine, it will not be a positive outcome for any of the landowners this affects. Please feel free to contact me if you'd like to discuss this further. So, why don't I give him a call to see if, because that'll be the fastest way to at least reach him, and see if we can come up with a time fairly soon, and if it doesn't look really fast, then we'll bring it up in the next meeting and schedule it.
That's fine.
Okay, what's our next?
Oh. I'm looking at this, I'm saying, this is a notification to abutters.
Oh,
The name of the applicant is Town of Rutland. This is the resource area delineation,
mm-hmm.
which we have on our schedule tonight, if I remember
right.
correctly. Yeah, this is just.
And in fact, I got asked by an abutter about what the heck that letter meant.
Yeah,
That's why we've been getting phone calls.
well, the wording is dictated by the state,
Right,
so.
but this isn't as scary as the NOI letter, so it's just confusing them.
Yeah, because it's not a project, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it is confusing because it's not.
Where are we?
Yeah.
1 minute. There is a property up on Palmagussit as you're heading north on Palmagussit, just past Campbell Street, that's being cleared where the log cabin is. There actually are some wetlands just to the south of it, and it looks like this landowner may not have been taking any care whatsoever. But the words I've been told is he's clear cutting the whole property and might be going on to his neighbor's land as well, which is fortunately not my problem. But Has anybody heard anything about that property?
No.
Because, well, I haven't talked to planning. DPW doesn't know anything about
It's
it.
past Brittenell?
Yes. Oh, well past Brittenell. This is up at
So it's-
Campbell Street. This is close to the end of Palmagussit.
It's actually right across almost across from, what's the name of that road?
From Campbell Street.
Yeah, Campbell and.
Campbell and
Brittenell
Bushy.
and they all come together right there, just across.
Yeah. Campbell and Bushy. What was the one that was just, there was a
Bushy
road-
Lane, that's what I want.
And there's the discontinued one that's right there also.
There's,
Bushy.
No, that's still in use. No, there's
No, there
one
was a
that
question
goes.
about whether part of Bushy was ever really a road. There was a controversy
Yeah, that's a
over that.
fair question.
Yeah, but-
We treat it like a road. No, but across Palmagussit from that, there was another little road, so I've been told, that was abandoned a long time ago now.
What road was that, Skip?
You can't even tell it was a road unless you're.
Yeah,
walking
not
in
anymore.
there.
Yeah,
But
that
it's right-
long ago.
It's right at the end of Brittenell. If you come down Brittenell from 68
Yep.
that way toward, yeah, you can't help but see it. Can't help but see it. And yeah, they're doing, I don't know who's cutting it, I have no idea.
I assume the owner, but I don't know.
I don't, does he have a skidder or not?
Yeah.
maybe.
I don't know.
Was there a name on the skidder or on one of the trucks?
I didn't see any.
So it isn't one of our usual guys like
No.
Greg or Steve.
Didn't recognize him,
sounds like
any of the
it's
equipment.
Yeah, 'cause they're usually pretty good about letting us know.
the only house there.
Yeah.
Might
it's
be
gotta
worth a
it.
ride over there to take a look.
Yeah, if you go north just yeah, that's gotta be it because we're at the end now. Yep.
But you're saying it's past the log cabin?
Yeah, it is the log cabin,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
that property.
I think it's there.
I'll take a ride by there tomorrow if you want.
Yeah, please.
Right.
I've been past and I didn't notice because what do I know?
Well, it's gonna be dark by the time you go by it now.
Alrighty, going to continue the hearing. Notice of intent for Joseph and Margaret Hernandez. Mr. Elbag.
So updated plan to submit part of the filing based on requests or changes from last meeting. You lost that table up here, huh?
We can get it back or we can show it up there.
Simple enough.
I'll show it up on the wall and everybody can see it, even the people at home.
Have you got it electronically?
Yeah.
We do. Jerry, can you press the on button on that projector? It's right near the blinking light.
We on camera tonight?
Yes.
It's a good sign.
Yeah, Peter went crazy, he wants to televise live the Concom meetings.
And in fact, on TV, they can show the projector output direct. We don't even need to, they don't have to zoom in on the screen and get it washed out with the light.
Did it come on?
It's getting it.
It's coming.
So those are the two submittal copies.
Okay.
The erosion control line was moved and we put an approximation on the house and septic location.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the two changes. The big shift was right here.
Yep.
Right.
Other than that, no changes.
There we go.
There you are.
So this erosion control line was revised to give a 25-foot offset to the wetland.
I'm good.
Okay, any other questions? Melissa, you satisfied?
I think, Jared mentioned the only thing that wasn't changed was the hay bales. So just so you know, that's straw, the detail for the original
Oh,
drills.
yeah, straw wattle instead of hay
Yep.
bales. Yep, that's fine. Is that a condition now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be in your order condition.
Yeah. Very good.
Any other discussion? Questions from the public?
Peter, I just had one thing.
Yes.
Mark, do you think, once you guys have a plan for the house and the yard and all that, do you see any potential that the erosion control barrier could move further away from the wetland? Or do you think that's probably where it's gonna end up wanting to go?
Just to, there's a potential, yeah, it
Yeah.
could shift in, but,
Okay.
I mean, just based on creating kind of the lawn area around the house.
Yeah.
It probably won't shift too much,
Okay.
but potentially a little bit.
I think you said last
A
time.
lot
you
will
didn't-
depend on the perk test.
Right, yeah, and you don't wanna constrict yourself too much either, which
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah, I
Okay.
show want a nice flat yard.
Mhm.
I think it's about 150 feet wide around the house,
Okay.
so gives you room on either side of the house if you have an attached garage.
Make a motion to close the hearing?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. We'll get orders for the next.
Go.
Oh, that's right, because we have the number and everything.
Yes.
Were there any other, well, did anybody think of any other special orders for this project?
No, I think the current one is,
Right.
Yes,
Yep.
it has the current one on there.
I didn't remember any, but I just wanted to be sure we're all,
There's a signature page. I made copies so that Mark could take one, so if you guys can just sign the extra signature page that I attached to that one, and then the other one's on the original. And I'll have to add the date.
What are you looking for?
the second signature page.
It's, he has it.
One
Oh,
of
he-
them- Yeah, that's the
Ah.
original. It's just because we don't have that ready access to the photocopy machine, I
Yeah.
decided just to make the copy.
I
well, we
see.
should sign them both.
Correct,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I just want to have the two signature pages.
Looking for a motion?
Oh, move to approve. DP 277543 with our standard conditions.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
I was like, what are you waiting for? Yikes. We won't confuse this at all.
No, oh no, this can't possibly be confusing. No.
Oops.
Is this it?
I might wanna check that.
Oh, yeah. And today is 17th?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
That's the one, that's the copy going to Mark, or this one is?
I think this one's going to Mark.
This is going to Mark?
I believe so. I have to see it to know, and I have to add the date to it, because I wasn't sure if we would sign or not.
You already signed this, right?
Yes. One minute.
You get quite feisty.
Okay, good. You caught it. Tamika.
What?
You caught it.
I did.
I'm going to open the hearing for an ANRAD for Town of Rutland at Central Tree Road.
Yay.
Lucky you!
It's coming slowly.
Sorry, in accordance with chapter 1, with 140, section
141.
it's 141, 30, 30A?
No, section
40?
40.
You okay?
131, section 40. Yeah, it's just,
Alright, so the ANRAD is for approximately 97
Take care.
acres of two contiguous parcels. They're off of Central Tree and Wheeler Road. And over the course of several site visits, we delineated the wetland resources. So we ended up with 10 wetlands, one of which is isolated, the rest are all bordering vegetated wetlands, and 7 streams. They're all intermittent. We did a site walk with the Conservation Commission back on August 24th, and so this is our official meeting with abutter notifications and everything. So these are the cards we've gotten back. We have, I think, 7 or 8 that haven't come back yet.
Nope.
Yeah, all you need is proof of mailing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't need the return receipts.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, we could hold you up forever.
That's true. Sure. And I don't know if you saw it, but we got a file number.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yes.
did you?
We did.
Oh,
Was that
good, 'cause I
today?
just checked and I hadn't seen one.
Yeah, it came in
What time did it come today?
at 4:38 p.m.
It's 4:30.
Well, they just slipping under the wire.
Maria, what's the number?
It's 277-0544. They did not have any comments on it.
all for an ANRAD, right.
Right.
So I mean, really, we're just here because we want to
Hold on, what was
confirm.
the
Oh,
number?
54?
That didn't make sense. Sorry.
0544.
0544?
44.
Oh,
Yes.
I missed a 4. Thank you.
For anyone that's actually here, the ANRAD process is really just delineating the resources and confirming with the Conservation Commission that we did it the right way, because it kind of streamlines some of the actual project permitting later on for a site that has this amount of wetland at it. So it just means that they've already reviewed the wetlands, so when we come back with a plan, that everyone has already agreed where the wetlands are. But there's no plan being discussed right now, just,
Okay, that's my question. What plan are we talking about? I'm Ramy Erickson, I live in Central Tree Road. I'm in a butter. I think I've met you
He's right
before
next to
anyway.
it.
perhaps.
And there is wetlands, I agree with that. But I mean, what's really the purpose of the town delineating, this
The-
project at the time? I mean, this
Potential
has been in
solar
the
field.
town
There's a
properties
potential
for
solar
years.
field.
But
Potential solar field. But there's a bunch of stuff that we're still working on to get to permitting the rest of it. So this was kind of a preliminary thing that we just wanted to get out of the way while we were working out some other issues related to the land. So
This is-
there will be more filings, you'll get notified the same way you did about this for when there's an actual project to discuss, but right now it's not quite there yet.
What it is, Remy, is this portion is just a layout of all of the wetlands, and that they have marked the wetlands correctly.
now is this
Now what
on-
they do is they know what land they can use, all right, now they have to fit their project to it. All right, so there's some areas that are not wetlands, but are obviously not gonna be used because they're either too far away from the main body, or other things getting away, or too far away from, a power source, being able to bring poles down to it and export the, generated electricity. So now what they have to do, now they know where all the wetlands are and everybody's in agreement as to where the wetlands are. Now they can draw a plan to fit that. You don't see it, not all of the solar guys have done it. In this case, they're doing it, they're dotting the i's and crossing the t's. A lot of the solar guys skip this step and go right to a notice of intent. But that would be the next step on this one, is a notice of intent.
Now, is this both of the fields you're talking about on Central Tree? Or-
Yeah. The one right next to you,
Well,
and
I'm
below
on
you.
both, I'm on both sides of them.
Yeah,
to be honest with you. You know, I'm adjacent to both of them, both fields. So this includes I say the filtration plant field?
Yeah, from the filtration plant coming up
Up.
towards,
Yeah,
Yeah.
coming up.
Who went on the sidewalk? You,
I was there.
you didn't go on this
Yeah,
one.
so-
I did, you
I
did, you didn't, you did.
No, I was there, yeah. I think I was.
Are there any questions?
Were there any areas of concern when you guys were out there?
say that again?
No.
Were there any areas that you questioned when you were out there?
No, this one was very, very clearly.
Is not disturbed like the other site was.
Right.
Yeah, that's.
This
very
was,
true.
we went to more sites just because I wanted to see what it looked like.
In a
Then,
clean site?
yeah, exactly.
It is, it's,
When it's cut and dry?
there's not,
Yeah.
yeah, there's nothing there it hasn't been disturbed other than probably some mowing over the years.
The green area, that's the wetlands?
That's a wetland. That's correct.
So
That-
the filled-in green area is the wetland, the red line is the 25-foot buffer zone that the commission likes us to stay out of. The green line that's outside of that is the 100-foot buffer zone that's mandated by the state, but you can do work in there depending on how the commission feels about it. Can you scroll to the other sheet? The yellow line that's in there is estimated buffer zone because the very northern edge of the property is in some other areas that we can't do work in anyway because it's protected by DCR. So we didn't go all the way to the edge in that case. So that's why that area is estimated. But all the rest of the property we delineated in the field.
Okay, guess I'm kinda lost on which, that's a road going up, but
You talking about this?
am I,
So that's the National Grid easement that goes through there, so it's a right-of-way. It's not paved or anything, it's just cleared trees, that's all.
Do you even have poles
What,
or
do you wanna
wires up there?
huh?
They don't have any poles over here. It's just an easement, right?
Yeah.
Not now, they don't.
Yeah, right,
They
there
took them,
aren't
they
any
took
right
them
now.
down a number of years ago. There was poles going down there. They took them down a number of years ago.
Are you interested in seeing where your house is in relation?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
That help.
Was,
So so Wheeler's over here.
where?
Yeah, Wheeler's right.
You're off Central Tree, right?
I'm on Central Tree.
Yeah, he's right where the power station.
I'm right where the
There's
power
a
station.
substation.
Okay,
Oh.
so scroll down
Yep,
to
scroll down.
the other page, all the way down.
One more.
The power station is right
Okay,
here.
I see my property there, right. All right, that's the dip in the field.
Yes.
The water is.
Yes.
Happily, it wasn't very wet the day we went out.
Yeah.
Go down here after a heavy rain. You can go swimming in there.
Well, that's why that green cuts across the way it does. Because of where it levels out there, the puddles.
Okay. So this would be presented to any, I say, solar potential activity or something in this idea that they wanna.
Right, so by approving these wetland lines, it means that for the next 3 years, anyone that wants to do a project, whether it's solar or not, on these parcels, has to use these wetland lines and buffers to design around. That's basically what this process does.
Okay. Oh, I see, okay, you got the hole in the middle of the field on this side.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you want to point out to him the suggested area?
Sure. Can you go to the other page, please?
Yeah.
So the interconnection point that they currently have is down on Central Tree by the station. That's by your house, but it's very difficult to get to where they want. This area that's off of Wheeler Road is actually the best area for them to build in, so they're focusing on that right now for design, but the design isn't finalized. So when we do submit an NOI, it's very likely that the vast majority of the solar field is going to be over in this area as opposed to down closer to the substation.
It'll be further away from your house.
Right. They may
But-
still have to, depending
but this-
on
but this-
costs and
yeah.
stuff, they may still have to run poles or something from there, but they're planning on putting a solar field up in this northern portion.
Yeah. Because I got 2 sets of poles on my property anyway, I know that right now. I mean, one, the one goes to my back house and the other one goes to my, down, technically to West Boylston used to be, you know, the ones they cut down. Because the poles have been out of there for a number of years. When they switched over to Paxton, I think, over.
But
Okay.
anyway, the piece that's closest to you just has so many wetlands on it that it's really hard to work around, so that's why they're looking at this area.
Okay.
Other questions? Comments? Concerns?
I'm good.
Motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second it.
All in favor?
Is this just a close?
It's just to close,
Okay,
yes.
I do have the ANRAD. I don't know if you guys want to send it to me or.
No.
No.
This, let me see what you got first.
I did have Melissa take a look at it for me, just to make sure that I had filled everything out correctly too.
Okay, we can sign this. Yeah, that's good. We can sign them both.
Would someone like,
You just
Okay.
Or, there was contact information
make a motion,
on the
someone?
letter that you received.
Who wants to make a motion to sign it?
I'll make a motion, Mr. China.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm just gonna abstain, Jared, because I didn't go, so I'm gonna abstain.
That's no excuse.
I know. I know. I suck. I'll still sign it.
Yeah.
There, I'll send this one that way.
You're really trying to get us.
Want to see how many people sign more than one, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, would you send me your,
The Excel, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
I'll just keep following that same sheet.
Perfect.
No, needs more.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm confusing
He's-
everybody today.
No, it's Peter.
Is that the
It's
other
not
one?
you.
It's me. I am an agent of chaos.
Where's the other one?
Skip
It's over
past
there.
it.
Oh,
I did sign that one, right? Yeah, I signed first on that. Maybe? I don't know.
As long as there's a majority on it, it's fine.
Where's the sign-in sheet? Has everyone signed in to the sign-in sheet, please? Who is here for the hearing?
all right, this
Thank
one?
you.
Thank you very much.
I signed that one, I think. Yeah.
Column 6.
There's no 6 names on it. Somebody didn't sign it. Yeah. I think you signed here and he signed up above you.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Pass that one over.
Jodi's right on the line.
Still getting used to the glasses.
All righty. I think you're all set. You're very welcome.
I gotta commend you, did a real nice job.
Really.
How soon is the NOI coming?
We just heard, so we had an update from the client today that the plans for Maple Ave are at the town for their approval, so as soon as they say, yes, that looks good, we're gonna start writing the NOI. But I think
So we won't see that for probably another month then.
they seem to think maybe a couple weeks, but I'll
But by the time we actually do anything on it, it'll be another month anyway.
probably 3 or 4 weeks, I would think. You know, if everything stays on schedule. But, so that's the next one that you'll see. This one, as we discussed, has some other things going on the parcel that they're still working out, so I'm not sure how quickly you're gonna get
So we
this
may
one.
see that in what, November, December?
Spring.
Well, no, better if they get it in.
Oh, sooner better, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that we haven't quite gotten permission to move forward with that stage of the permitting
Mhm.
for it because there are still questions being worked out.
Right.
Particularly, like, what are they gonna do with the interconnection? Do they have to stay on Central Tree, or do they have the ability to move it over to being on Wheeler where the solar field is gonna be?
Has Grid completed their studies yet?
No.
So, I don't know exactly. My understanding is that Grid has kind of done a couple things. They sort of did individual studies, and then they did what's called a cluster study. And the cluster study, everyone is still waiting on. I'm not sure offhand if we're still waiting on the individual study for this one or
So
not.
we've got like 5 fields over that way that are proposed at this point.
Right.
You know, within that same radius.
Within the area, yeah.
So, I'm sure that we're still waiting on at least one of those things. I'm just not sure if we're waiting on both right now.
Okay. Just looking for some inside info.
That's all I've got. I'd give you more if I had it. But yeah, you should see the NOI for Maple Ave in a few weeks, is my guess.
Come back, visit us on the 1st.
Are you gonna be following both projects all the way through, Maria?
I hope so.
Okay.
I mean, that's the plan right now, is that we're going to be doing all the permitting for both. It's just a question of when they actually tell us, yes, go do the permitting.
Yeah. Fair enough. Thank
See
you very
around.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And have a good trip home.
Drive safely.
Mr. Jarvie, you are next on our quiz show. Would you enter and sign in, please?
Hit sign in. Thank you for the opportunity to come back. I have a little more information, and I actually have also, I was hoping to get your opinion on my letter to DCR before I actually sent it. So I put a copy of the letter in there. In addition to that, I put a copy of a map. And then ideas, as you had mentioned. You know, we wanted to come up with some ideas, some more valid. I spent a bunch of time doing some research on, you know, trends that are out there, things that are, as I mentioned before, making money for, you know, the need that I have to pay for the property. So if you want to click over to the next, I'll just give you guys a quick little overview of the property that we have. You know, it's been a farm since the town was a town. dairy farm, and then a bison farm, and then my wife and I purchased the farm a couple of years ago, and I actually put an order in last week for 1 bull and 2 bred heifers, so I am bringing the bison back. We're working on the fencing as we speak down along Emerald Road down there to put new fencing in, and the rest of the facility was still intact. So that's one of the things that I'm working on, is bringing that back in. And one of the other things on this other piece of property, as you can see, was trying to figure out a way to generate some revenue. So in this, you can click over. I put in a whole bunch of options, things that I've been around the state and seen, and what I would consider, and maybe I'm wrong, would be low impact. I don't know if that's the right term to utilize, but RC racetracks. You can kind of go right through some of these mud pits. You know, you get guys out there, go-karts. Skating park, which is one thing that's already on the town list of things that they want to look through. An archery facility, batting cages. You know, when you look at sports complexes, and I think the whole region is lax on that. People that drive into Sturbridge and South, I mean, all over the place for practices. So I think some of these facilities could come into play and could generate revenue, not just for me, but then also for the town potentially. I did have a conversation, don't know if it'll ever go anywhere, with Little League, and we're in some conversations with a piece of the property that could be utilized by them. And if you keep clicking right through, there's a couple others. You know, there's a disc golf. There's a lot of those, and I put some numbers in on those. And I wanted to show you some of the photos of what it entails. If you're not, you know, familiar with what a course is, you want obstructions, and you want trees, and you want those types of things. So it's not a sport that you would go in and open up like a soccer field, or like, it's not wide open. You want to be able to have these types of things. So these are just, some of these are in Oregon, some of them are in Nebraska, some of them are right over here in Leicester, Mass. So if you click through onto the next one, it shows a couple more paintball facilities, airsoft facility.
What is airsoft?
Airsoft is where it's, you know, real. You get padded up and you get shot with the little pellets.
Oh, so it's just
It's like a paintball, but maybe it hurts a little bit more. And I think you have additional padding, and it's more along the lines. I think that's maybe a, you know, there are people that are in there. It's, I think, more of an adult league, whereas a paintball would maybe be more kid oriented. But it grows. I think you start in paintball and then you graduate to airsoft, or vice versa. I'm not really sure. But ropes course, there's a bunch of those in Massachusetts now, which again is some telephone poles in the ground, and the rest of it's up off the ground. So this would be my 5
Zips
top.
also.
I'm sorry?
Zip line.
Yes, zip line. I think if that wasn't in there, I had put it in. I think the letter to DCR was in there for sure. So that would go along the same as like an adventure park type theme, which could be a combination of 1 or 2 or 3 of these. But a ropes course, paintball, airsoft, disc golf, foot golf, I didn't know it was a thing until about 3 months ago, 2 months ago. And believe it or not, it is a thing. There's a whole entire association. There are 3 of them in New England. One is at Quail Ridge in Acton, the other's in Connecticut, and then the other's in Norfolk, Mass. So there's actually 3 foot golf facilities out there. So that could be in conjunction with the disc golf, where it's almost the exact same. So a lot of the foot golf facilities now are on golf courses, where you would go out, you'd either pay to play regular golf, or you go out there and you kick a soccer ball around. And I printed this out because, yeah, that's actually in Wikipedia. I found it a little bit interesting, but it's just another option as you look at things that could potentially be done. Over there, I was curious about the paintball because I wanted to know, and I did some more research on that as far as the environmental impact. Are paintballs toxic, what they manufactured, and I've got the information here if you don't need to go into details. They're pretty much harmless. And then if you look at the other, the next slide over is other options that we had some pictures of in there. And as I had mentioned, the dog park, skate park, I think those are already on the town's list. Some of these other things in there, and if there are any other options that you guys think of, that's great. And my main question to the commission before I submit that letter, are there any red flags in any of these things that you see that could, you know, potentially deter DCR or you guys from allowing any of this stuff to happen with a minimal amount? There's some open land. I also included in that folder a map of the property that, and I was able to put in a couple of keys in there, so you can see where, like, if it was a disc golf, yeah, my little map there that shows a facility. I wasn't able to code it as good as I wanted to, but the small blue building in the middle is potential for like a clubhouse type thing that would be, as I mentioned before, built on a trailer, so it wouldn't be a foundation. It would just be something that would maybe be built out there, but it would be up off of the ground on a trailer.
Is this like the road? the
That
dark
would be a
green?
road,
Okay.
yep, that dark gray line into a parking area. And if you look at what I had, and my intent, and if I'm a little bit off on the placement of it, my intent is to have as much of that driveway and parking area off of the wetland. And if you look at the wetland map that
Yeah.
is attached, it should be in that open area, I guess I would call it. And that's my intent, and that's where I would put it, would be off of. And then there's an 8-acre piece just north of the 35-acre piece that could be utilized for some of this stuff, in addition to parking and whatnot. But we wouldn't want the parking too far away, because if you're gonna walk it, it's a big piece of property, you
Yep.
know, and I have some dimensions on the map as well to show what the overall area consists of. You walk around the whole piece of property, it's almost about a mile, so, I mean, one loop around and a walking trail, and
Yeah.
I was looking at this disc golf. If you look at some of these numbers, Macbeth now tops career winnings. Gentleman Paul Macbeth, PDGA number 27,523, which is high up there. First pro cash was in 2017. His money year to date is $432,000 he's made in disc golf. So there's 10 people that have made over $400,000 in purse winnings. And if you look at some of the other purse winnings in the disc golf, it's millions. They're in $4.8 million is paid out annually now. So there were 50 courses in Massachusetts last year. There's 53 this year. So it's growing. And if you look at some of those other growths, they've tripled in members in 10 years. So it's without a doubt something that is progressing pretty quickly. There are 2 courses over in Leicester that one of them houses the world champions last 3 years in a row is Maple Hill disc golf course, and then there's Pyramids on the other side. And a third one in this area would open the door to a lot more larger tournaments as well, so it could bring some traffic into town, and then also, you know, in turn, generate revenue for the whole entire town.
So it sounds like disc golf is something that.
I would say would be
Higher?
on the top of the priority list for me as I look at low impact to the ground. It's literally a
Right.
5-gallon bucket full of cement with one of those baskets coming out of it, and then the tee pad would consist of something as simple as 6 inches of stone dust and a rubber horse mat.
Right.
In an ideal world, it would be a concrete pad, you know, maybe with some wire in between, but it would just be just a place to stand, 6 feet by 12 feet. You throw the disc, it lands into a basket. Those baskets, those 5-gallon buckets also have where you could take the basket out, so you could potentially move the hole. You leave the sleeve in there, and you leave the 5-gallon bucket in there, and then you have a secondary. So if you ever want to change where the hole is, similar to golf, they change the cup placement. You can do a similar type thing. So there's a lot of similarities between the sports, but there's a lot less overall maintenance down the road annually. I'm not out there with these lawn. You don't have to groom. Your ground is pine needles or whatever else ends up out there, and just as long as there's an area where you just don't get completely lost and inundated in mountain laurel, there might be, you'd have to be able to have it so that it's.
Do they still call it greens fees?
That's a good question. Tee fees? I think maybe it's tee fees. I'd have to look at some of the pictures. Yeah, what are they? Maybe it is greens fees. But now it's $20 a day per round. Weekends are even. There's definitely some tangible revenue that could be generated from this sport on a day-to-day basis, and then there's also the potential for the clubhouse, which is selling the discs and selling hats and T-shirts and all that other type of stuff could generate some revenue too.
And you think you have enough space to make it worth it? If you just confine it to this lot, you think you have enough space for a big enough course?
The average disc golf course out there right now is about 15 acres.
Okay.
So we're putting it in on 35. I do not want to change that hayfield.
Yeah.
I'm on my 3rd cut right now. I've got beautiful product coming
Right.
out of there. It'd be foolish for me as a farmer to try to change that. My true hope is that you drive down the street and you see very little change down that road other than maybe a basket or something like that.
Yeah, if you go by the ones in Leicester, there's no real disturbance
Yeah.
to it.
I know, and that's what kind of makes it so great is you incorporate the natural I guess, sense of the land already, and it is, you know, it's movable if you need to move it.
You can move
And
it. I
it's
mean,
very
there's
compact.
probably two spots on that whole property right now. As a lot of wetlands are, it's dry as a bone out there.
Mhm.
After winter, it's you know, you're putting boots. So, but there is without a doubt plenty of drier areas even after the. And I've walked the land my whole entire life, so there's a lot of areas that you could very easily have a course in there, up and down, and probably one or two, if it'd be possible, to put a bridge. You know, I don't know if telephone poles can go over, and I can even show you guys the two areas that I would think might need a walkway to just get over during those couple of months when it's real wet.
Right.
And that would be, I mean, if that's feasible to do. And then the rest of it is, I mean, if grass grows, that's great. Maybe some pine wood chips or whatever right around the actual basket itself area, you know, in like a 10-foot diameter around the basket, just so it's almost like a green as it lays up. Yeah, and if you ever get a chance, take a walk around over, and they're beautiful courses. And there's people there every day, all day, wintertime, the rain, flying in from California. It's pretty amazing what happens over there. But
Questions?
This is all on your land, right?
this is all, yes, correct.
Land that you own.
Well, this is all on land that I oversee and manage. It's still owned. We own the farm, the houses. Some of the properties are still owned by Nancy Mann, the original owner, and I have lease in play. And there's another letter of 4, and she can file a letter as well saying that she has given me
She's agreeable to all this.
100%.
Okay. No, just,
Yep.
didn't want to put us in between the rock and hard.
Oh, no, absolutely. And that's why, you know, it's not, and that's, I had the conversation with David this afternoon as far as that, if we need to show a lease for that. The Mann family is same desire I have, is to keep it all together. But you have to be able to pay for it, you know, and there's only so many ways you can generate that revenue to pay for the land. The land is still, and I do have, what was done, and this was done a while back, and it may change now, but potential plan for the property, which can, you know, you can put in houses, and again, I know that might change now because of some changes in rules and regulations, but I would hate to see, you know, 10 houses or 15 houses or,
We don't
you know.
have anything to do about building houses. I'm talking as a member of the board and as an individual. This board has nothing to do
Oh, I
with building houses.
Fully understand that. I just
We're
wanted to show
concerned
what
with
the.
Wetlands, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I seen some guys out there the other day on that piece of property right there on the corner of Prescott and
DCR was out. Yeah, I called DCR out. We're just filing the 2020 cutting plan for the property, so DCR just came out to walk around and just make sure that we have like the guy that filed the cutting plan went out and walked around. And Julian was there doing some surveying a couple, 5 or 6 months ago, just to have that 8-acre piece surveyed and remarked out. So we've got that part taken care of. The other pieces are abutting to either Holden Trap Rock or, because the Holden Rutland line is right on the very, very edge. Everything west of us, east of us is Holden. And one of the other maps that I showed in there is a little broader view of the overall town, and I think it's,
Right.
you know, for me, and I know this is more planning board, and I totally hear what you're saying, you know, Skip, but, you know, it's appealing, that spot, because from all the major developments, et cetera, I mean, you can really walk from here to there with a couple of crosswalks, and through those developments, there's already some trails and whatnot, so the kids and all that type of stuff will be able to, a lot of the population in town can get from here to there without any major problems if they want to walk or ride their bikes.
You want this back, or can we?
Yeah. You don't want to see it anyways, like you said.
See what? We didn't see anything.
Didn't see anything just then, I think you have an ambitious plan, Kevin.
Thank you.
The
If I
letter
can take
sounds-
that as a compliment.
The letter sounds
It
good
is.
to me. I don't know if anybody else read it.
I haven't read it yet.
I did.
I've seen it. I've gone past it
Yeah.
3 times.
I'm sorry, Skip, you think the letter looks okay?
I think it does, yeah.
Okay.
I would think the only thing maybe you should kind of reinforce is kind of what you've already pitched to us, in that you're using the natural landscape. You know, you're trying to incorporate the history and feeling of the farm into this, and you know, this is an adventure to make sure that the farm stays. I think that might be important to include.
Okay,
for you.
yeah, and I had thought
Emphasize
about
the-
that, but then I didn't know
Yeah.
getting going there. to-
Emphasize the low impact.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right.
I think that will catch them more and say, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then,
A lot of these are very low impact.
yeah.
And I had asked him originally, that's how this conversation really all began with Alan, was about like a mud run or a Spartan race or something like that. And the answer was definitely not no. It was, when we get to that point, we can put in for a permit and
Yeah.
go through that, but it hadn't come up directly to him that he was aware of. But after his regional meeting, he brought it up and he said, put in the permit and we'll see what happens. But the answer again definitely wasn't no. On this piece of property, when I spoke on the phone, it was a non-issue, so I have to believe that we'll get a response quickly from him from that letter, and I can send that over to him tomorrow, and then. if I
Well,
can-
rewrite it first and emphasize.
Absolutely, yep, absolutely, I
No,
will.
because I think how you presented it tonight, if you put that feeling kind of more into the letter and saying, this is the farm, this is how it's going to stay, but we do need to support it, but we want to incorporate it as well.
Excellent, thank you, we can do that, and I can get that over to him tomorrow, and if you want, I could either present the approval from him, or I could just if I could ask to be back on the docket from October 1st, I could present it at that point. And if anybody else
Would
has
you be
it.
able to get it that fast?
He has responded every time I've sent him. I bet you if I send him an email right now, he'd probably respond. The
Really?
guy's phenomenal. He's responded very, very quickly every time. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah. So I don't foresee any issues. I would have submitted it after the last meeting, but again, I just wanted to get your opinion and make sure I was presenting it the proper way. And I think I should absolutely have a response.
And the other thing that you're doing is also making an investment in the livestock. All right, what that does is reassure people that
The
of the
farms.
continued use.
Right. It's going to
Being
continue to be a
agricultural.
farm. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's not important to the letter. That's important
To the town.
to the approval process.
Well, that's pretty, I will absolutely add that in, and I mean, as we go down that path in 1968, when Howard brought the buffalo, he was the first person to bring bison to New England. And as of today, right now, there are no bison in Massachusetts. The ones I'm bringing in are direct lineage back
To the
to
original?
those from a farm in Connecticut that sat around the farm table with Howard 20-something years ago and bought his first animals from Howard and went down to Connecticut, and now full circle it comes back around, so I think that's pretty cool too.
There's another big herd just over in the New York line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there?
Oh, yeah.
This guy seems to kind of have, I would say, the market at this point. He's supplying quite a bit of meat, which is still a big benefit for, health reasons and everything else. So he seems to have quite a good business down there.
Are you gonna do all your own slaughtering and everything?
You can't, no. We could. I mean, the only thing that we could potentially do is put the animal down, but then it would have to go to a slaughterhouse. and
Okay,
be-
so you're not planning.
No, there's only a couple of places in New England. Skip, you probably knows more than I do about that. I mean, there's a couple places that would take those animals, specifically because they're,
Well,
not
Skippy's
really that
brought my
easy.
ear about
you know what I mean? They're
The
not like
permitting
cows where you can
process for
kind
that
of
is
get them
rather-
going. So there's only, I think, a couple of places, and I believe it's right in, is it Groton?
There's one in Goffstown,
Blood's in Groton, and was the other one is,
Goffstown, New Hampshire.
gosh, I thought there was one in Mass.
Not that I know
Right up along Route 2 as well. But no, there'd be no slaughtering or processing, just raising and then selling of the meat afterwards.
No, the only reason I asked the question is you'd have to have major investment in the property.
Oh yeah, no,
and the
that
facility that.
yeah, that wouldn't happen. We have the handling facility to take the animals and get them, as they need their shots, and get them weighed and get them in and out of the trailers as they need to be. That was there, put in there years ago, and it's still there now.
Very good.
Very nice.
Well, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
I'll see you in a couple of weeks with hopefully some
Absolutely.
more information.
Don't forget your USB.
Are these ours to keep, Kevin?
Yes, you guys can hang on to those, and then you can add to them if you want to as more
Thanks.
paperwork or whatnot.
Okay, next thing on my list is long-term record storage management. Ugh.
We'll get into the fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, Kevin.
Actually, there's a lot of that we can lose.
Well, let's start off with who's been in the annex since all our stuff got moved, all our boxes got moved into the conference room.
Can you even call them boxes? Sorry.
You can
You can
call them
call them
boxes.
coffins, too.
Melissa and I spent a couple hours there, not last Friday, the Friday before. I think we got through 4 boxes, and we ended up with 2. So we condensed 4 to 2, and then I said,
Are these the
I'm
latest
done.
boxes?
No.
Well, no, some of them were because they had all the solar stuff.
That's
That
true.
isn't
Okay,
active.
because those are all current,
Yes,
all right, and those are, or should be in close to correct order.
kind of.
Uh,
If they were in boxes with only those, they would have been,
yeah.
but they're not.
Well, the problem
I
is,
also-
all of that stuff from back, prior to any of us being on the board.
Well, it wasn't. We didn't do anything too old.
Right.
Only like the last
The Heights.
5 years.
We did no. The Heights is older than
Oh
that.
yeah, that was old.
The Heights box.
Oh, that is,
So
That was
Peter picked the
painful.
worst boxes of
Yeah,
them
there's
all
gonna
because
be-
it was literally just everything thrown into one. I at least had like packets of applications that I could follow through, and I'm so sorry.
the thing is, you're gonna find the Heights one, there was
There's no
mountain of
one. It's 4 so
yeah,
far.
there's a mountain of paper on that.
He
all
found it.
Because it went through
Yeah.
iteration,
Yeah.
iteration. The other one is, Bryce Lemon.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pile of
Yeah, I avoided that
All
one.
right. And on that, we have the latest approved plans, all right? So
Mhm.
it's by date.
Right.
I don't recall the date off the top of my head.
We
But that went through a few iterations because of the Army Corps and DCR and DEP. There's also another one for Noble Hill,
Mhm.
okay? But that has not progressed beyond the original planning stages, and I'm sure there'll be numerous modifications, so on that one, all we need is the last date. There is
Right.
no NOI on it. Well, there was an NOI, but it's long since expired.
It's expired, right?
All right, and that would have to be resubmitted anyway because of there'd be changes in that one too.
Mhm.
Everything else is all kind of the small stuff, all right? We've got the developments that are done, all right, and a lot of that we've already did the certificates of compliance.
Mhm.
So all you need is the plates, the maps.
Right.
So it could be condensed down to something.
Well, that's the first.
Well, that's the
process
problem. Is
Melissa and I have been
nothing
going
is
to.
together.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like in boxes as we approved it. So the COC could be in a box that's
6 boxes down the
6 boxes down the road, and the
literally
maps.
down the road.
The maps are rolled up and over there in
Yeah.
that box. The NOI is here. The
All over the place.
orders.
We had no good way of storing maps.
No. Well, we still don't. But
Well, we got that cabinet that we can store paper
we,
in.
we have actually a few things. But I actually want to back up a little bit and say we have right now what I call I think of as 3 different problems, all because of that one space. One is the space itself, because the town administrator wants that space for a meeting room. So they're
Well,
looking for that
ultimately,
to
were
be
they
done.
planning on putting that upstairs in the town hall? On the 3rd floor?
Ultimately, who knows? No,
Okay.
the meeting room is going to be downstairs in the basement in the long run.
Right. But I'm talking about all the files, all the,
Oh, the file. I'm not going to begin to guess what the future will hold for that space. I'm not. Because last I heard, he still wants his office up there, and the select board will have an office up there. There are 3 or 4 or 5 offices
oh,
up there.
oh,
Well, once the elevator's in, that's not a problem. So.
right, yeah, once the handicap access. is done.
Moving on.
Okay.
So, Something was suggested to me today, and I said, that's a very interesting idea. I don't know the process, but we can actually hire people to work off their tax bills. And we could get people to do this organization, I wouldn't say for
Free.
us. Well,
It depends who you get to.
that's, yes, it
I
does.
have
You
them
could
at
get-
work, yeah.
You could get a lot of help. I mean, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to leave them on their own with it. I mean,
No, but it's one of those things. I agree with you. We couldn't leave them on their own. They wouldn't have the knowledge to know what to keep and what to throw. But I think that we could use that labor. I think that it was actually suggested to me, and I doubt that the town administrator will go for it, but I'll ask him, that we get DPW to move that whole collection of stuff somewhere else, say the top floor of town hall,
Where we can actually move around.
where we can move around and we can lay it out and we can organize it differently as we're going, which we really can't do in the space we're in, and it would free up that conference room.
I think he would go for that.
So if you move it upstairs in the town hall, you're gonna be able to get the seniors to able to get up there to help you? That's, you know.
That has not been a problem for the workers that I know of so far. I'm not saying it can't be, because
You could always carry them.
Yeah, we could always give them a box somewhere else.
yeah, we could bring some down just to.
I mean, I would just,
Yeah, hash that out first.
As long as you make some accommodation.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think you're
We
covered.
we can make reasonable accommodation to let that happen.
the last I heard, all that was being done through Nancy Nichols and the Council on Aging for that work-off program.
Could be.
I wonder if you could move the boxes over there.
Over
Talk to Nancy Nichols and see if, over to the Council on Aging.
Community.
COA. That's
They've
an
got a
interesting
big
thought
space, too.
also. Well, I'm going to ask a dangerous question. Does anybody know what the hell is really in those filing cabinets?
No.
Not really.
No.
We couldn't figure it out either.
Yeah,
That
it was.
one of those-
It was.
Is that
you
mine?
kinda-
Is
you
that
kinda
not?
Went like this.
Yeah.
Well, I was really shocked when I saw the one
couple of
labeled
rats
planning
loose.
board that Melissa looked at and said, no, this is all Concom.
No, it was Board of Health. It said Board of Health.
Board of Health.
Which
I
was
th-
more deceiving.
that's right.
Yeah.
So,
Well, at one time, if I remember correctly, way back, it was the same secretary for both.
mhm,
Uh,
right.
It was a shared.
Because they're definitely older files,
Yeah, there's some.
for sure.
There's some stuff dating way back.
So at this point, I don't really have a thought yet about long term. Let's at least get the step of getting it organized. That's a huge effort by itself. And when we're getting close to the end and we see what we have, then we can figure out what we want to keep and what we want to throw. Which COCs haven't been done?
A lot.
I don't know. A lot of
A
them.
lot.
And then we can either be. Is the process for a COC for us to just issue it, or is it usually that we get asked?
We have to have a
They have to
request.
do
We
an
have to have a
request.
request.
Yeah,
Okay.
they have to put an application.
So we can't really do them. We can't just say let's do 5 a week.
No.
Okay.
Generally, where the COCs got messed up is during the last big building boom.
Oh yeah, where nobody asked.
Nobody
for
was
them.
asking. You know, the banks were okay, and they were throwing money out at you. All right.
So the
Without
banks weren't
following
looking.
up.
Oh,
The
so
attorneys
that's
weren't
usually where it gets
providing-
hung up.
Yep.
There's a
And-
lien on the
but that's-
property.
But now what happens, all right, because we still get requests for COCs from 1998. We've even had a couple earlier than that,
Wow.
all right, because it never happened, and the people never, they own the house for, long term, they
Yep.
decide to finally sell it or move south or whatever.
It's like, oh, we have an
Okay,
issue.
we need a certificate of compliance because now the banks are finally dotting the i's and crossing the
Yeah,
t's.
yeah.
Big time.
And that has driven the attorneys to do the same thing, so
Mhm.
it is self-correcting.
Mhm.
But you're still gonna have, there's still stuff hanging out there. I mean, and you don't, unless you wanted to take tons and tons of time to figure out which ones those were,
Mhm.
I mean, you're better off just waiting for the request to come in.
Yeah.
Well, that's what also I use the senior work-off person to send the COC letters out.
Mm.
So the spreadsheet that I have is kind of one that I have at work too, and that we kind of double checked everyone that had a COC, or if we could find it recorded. And then we had the senior work-off person look up the current address for those lots, and then they sent out just the standard letter of, you have an open order of conditions, here's the process. So I think once we finish organizing, that may be doable, because
Right.
I'm updating this as we go. So, I mean, it is something that if we want to start closing out COCs, that's one way we could do it. And we can even hit it like a span of years at a time. So we
Mhm.
take this 10
Sure.
years, 10 years, etc.
You never
Good.
called my wife.
We just looked that
Oh.
first day to say, okay, what are we doing?
Oh.
And then we opened one, and it was like it exploded, so you can't stop. But
Still thinking I have respiratory disease from
I know, yeah,
The
some of that.
dust. The dust.
Yeah.
that's what ruined my knee. That's what it is.
There you go. Oh,
They
let me tell you,
they
we
sell those knee
overflow.
pads at Lowe's and
Oh.
Home
Well, there's no
Depot.
place to sit, so we were standing.
That's right.
No, to put on your knees,
Yeah.
you know.
All right, so I will start looking into how we get senior work-offs. And for the amount of work, we could use a few,
Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
And I'll also talk to Nancy about where the records can all go to make them most accessible to people. And then start it up, see how long that takes, help out from time to time.
Okay. Yeah, I can't do this Friday. We're moving all the stuff from Western Mass to
It's my
our
wife's
house.
birthday. I am not going to be involved in this town on Friday.
But I think next Friday I'm here. If anyone wants to jump in. What was it, 1:30? I
Whatever
think we
time we
started.
work it out.
Yeah. So I'll let everyone know if we decide to do next Friday.
Cool.
What time do you go till?
3:30. At 2 hours, I was
That's
done.
it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It didn't take long.
Oh, and the poor woman had to put up with me narrating everything I was.
See, I didn't have to narrate because at least mine was pretty straightforward, just one after the other. But you had a lot of mismatched
A lot of
information.
what the hell is going on
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
Questions, yes.
So mine was fine. Not too much narration needed.
Oh, look. It's Erosion Control Field Day. Wow, the Northeast chapter of the International Erosion Control Association. Well, you know.
You belong to that?
I don't.
Anybody interested in it? Where the heck is
It's gonna be in
return to?
Timbuktu.
That's in Holden. But where? Where's
it
Chicken?
on
Oh,
the
this is what Conservation District sent to us. I saw the envelope. Oh, there it is in Chelmsford and North Grafton. On October 1 and October 2, respectively.
Chelmsford's a popular spot for a lot of that stuff.
Really?
I
North
might
Grafton's
actually
kinda
signed
new,
up for
eh?
this.
Do we have any more business before the board?
Any other item not reasonably anticipated prior to the posting of this meeting?
I already covered it when I talked about that property up on Palmagussit, which you're going to swing by.
Skip, I added public comment to the agenda.
Now you're gonna send me
No
the Excel
public,
sheet?
but-
Yes, I will send you those.
Okay.
With all the cars out there, I thought we'd have a packed house tonight.
Yeah, I was scared. I'm saying,
Yeah.
what are we
What
doing?
the
here?
What's
Did I
going
miss
on?
something on the agenda?
I had to park in a
I was
cemetery.
unaware of any ultra.
Yeah.
Nothing controversial that I knew of. All right.
I was even going beyond ultra controversial, looking at the parking lot.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
I have an update for
Aye.
the board.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, sorry, coming late here. I met with the property owner at 38
Oh, yes.
Britnell
Oh.
Drive
Yep.
couple Fridays ago, Andrew Brandt,
Mm-hmm.
and just went through what he went through with his property. And I don't know if others know the details of that or not, but I can give you a quick rundown. So he explained to me what happened. When they moved in, they had a smell coming out of their backyard, and they weren't sure if their septic system had failed or if it was something else. And I guess there was a lot of back and forth. He met with the health inspector, I believe.
Yeah, I met with Rick and
Yep,
met with
Rick,
Peter
yep.
and I.
Yeah, and you, yep. And so eventually figured out it was not the septic, it was buried stumps and other things that got buried at the edge of his property. And so it eventually all got taken care of, no more smell. But it sounds like it was a lot of headache for him and some cost out of his pocket. So I think at this point he's more frustrated, rightfully so, because he had to deal with this for a while. But at least the issue has been resolved, it seems like, at this case, at this time.
I gotta tell you, it wasn't easy.
Yeah, it sounds like it went for a long time.
Yeah, we had some rather nasty letters go back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
That came up years ago, didn't it?
No, that,
Kind of been that long
It
ago, 'cause
wasn't
he only
too long
moved in a
ago.
couple of years ago.
yeah, we okayed that.
I think
We
that
did
was
the
right
NOI
before
on
me.
that.
Yeah, I think so.
That was
think-
right before me.
I think he said he moved in a year and a half ago,
Yeah,
something
would've
like
been
that.
about a
Sounds
year
right.
and a
Yeah,
half.
Give or
that was
take.
right before I started.
And it was, I forget how long he said the process was, but it was many, many months.
The problem with that property was it's a one-off.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is they didn't, it was slam it in, they didn't take the time,
Yeah.
and when they graded that off, put the septic in and then graded everything,
Mm-hmm.
they never cleaned up the mess.
That's what it sounds like.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that's where, once it got into the ground,
Yeah.
now you're gonna be there a damn long time waiting for
Right.
that to wash out,
Right. Because based on the topography and what he was describing, he showed me some pictures too, is you saw it was just groundwater coming through, basically moving through that material and popping out the slope.
Yep.
And that's where the smell was coming from.
And
So
it was
all-
not good-looking
it-
water.
Yeah. Oh, he showed me a picture. I said, well, it kind of looks like sewage.
I got
It
a
was-
pocket full of pictures
Yeah. Yeah.
for that property.
So
Yeah,
it was-
that,
It was not good.
I really felt bad for the guy. but,
I do
mean,
too.
We were kinda limited as to how much we could actually
Right,
do.
right. Which I talked to him about that too. I said, our jurisdiction is limited to wetlands and the buffer zone, and one suggestion I had for him, I said something like this. I don't know if maybe a different board might have been able to help more. I don't know, planning board, but if they didn't really have to go through planning board,
It
there
would
may
have been a
not-
planning board because
it was
it
a
was a,
A
It's an A&R.
A&R, right?
A&R lot,
That
so-
yeah.
so
They get you.
we worked it, through Concom and through Board of Health.
Yep.
All right, Board of Health, Rick did all the necessary testing on the septic.
Yep.
All right, and that
Ruled that
that
out.
was fine.
Yeah.
There was no
Yeah.
problem there.
Yeah.
Uh,
Andrew mentioned he touched base with DEP as well.
yes,
I forget who he had talked to there, but
that
they,
was. I gave him that
yeah,
contact and said, definitely call them.
yeah,
They would be interested. And I said, don't be afraid to, have your attorney talk to them,
mm-hmm.
which I don't know that he did,
I don't know.
but.
I know he did. I don't know if he had his attorney speak with them as well. I'm not
But
sure.
I think his attorney was talking to the attorney of the builder.
Yes.
And, finally it came to the point where, you gotta either fix this
Yeah.
or it's gonna really start costing.
Right. Right.
Because really, the guy he was stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
I mean, they're from, nowhere local. I
Mhm.
mean, they came from way out of state,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they didn't have a support group, a family group where, like if they had to move out for a little while.
Right.
So they didn't have those amenities, those
Yeah.
luxuries, if you
Yeah.
will, available to them. So I said, I told him my best advice to you is to get a hold of an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
I said, and start,
Try to push this from a legal
Right.
side of things. Yep.
because he was borderline losing use of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that, let's face it, that's a bill that adds up quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
My question to you is, did you look at the erosion along the road on the adjoining property?
The property that is just up Brittenell,
Yeah,
Yes.
just,
the next one over, which is where when
Where
they pulled everything out, that's where they dumped it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did take
It's
a
also
look
where
at
they pulled some dirt from, I understand, so.
Yes, and you could see it because they had carved out the slope. So before he'd even mention it, I said I noticed back there, they definitely did some excavation and they moved that material over to fill it, and what they pulled out, they dumped and apparently dropped some dirt on it as well. I'm not sure why, but I mean, yeah, that there's a severe slope from Brittenell coming down that property.
Yeah, the erosion wouldn't necessarily wash from that property onto the road because all of it's lower than the
The
road.
Oh,
road
no,
is
it's
up
but
high.
my concern actually isn't the roadway, well, other than potentially eating away at the support of the roadway, but the other one is where it goes and towards the wetlands
Mm-hmm.
even further. So I was wondering if it looked like there was erosion occurring.
I didn't see anything in that area.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
the
because
wetlands curves back.
and
away from
the
that.
way they cut out the property
Mhm.
to create backfill to fill the area that they pulled everything out of, it's somewhat level there now.
Okay.
It's level, but then you have basically a
Okay.
straight face coming
Yeah,
up.
cliff.
So I mean that area, I'd be concerned over time. It's just gonna fall down.
That'd be fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, the finger got pointed at the house across the street that it was that septic system.
Mhm.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. When I checked on that house, right, that house is unoccupied.
Oh.
And it's being renovated. It's been in that condition, in that state, since before Andrew bought his house.
Okay.
You know, so
So there's no use of septic.
that's right.
Can't come from there.
It wasn't coming out of that
Yeah.
one.
And it made sense that the first thought was it's got to be septic. I mean, based on how he described it, he said it.
Well, there is a slight difference
Mm.
in odor, although my sniffer may not be
Well,
the
Yeah.
best on the planet.
When
In
it's
between,
that
bad, it's
between
that
sewer and
bad.
decaying
But
matter.
there is a slight difference, but not much.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions on this property? Comments? Anything we need to keep a track of?
No, at this point.
I don't
How'd
think
you leave
so.
with Andrew? Did you tell him if there's anything else, give us a call?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It sounds like he's all set, and I
That's good.
asked him, do you feel like the situation has been resolved as much as it possibly can? He said yes. He said the smell's gone. There were no more issues that he was dealing with before. I think at this point he's hoping to recoup some of the expenses that he had to put in himself, and I think that's roughly where he's at.
Mhm.
But with respect to the issue itself, I think it's all set.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion.
Really, anything else? Really? Really this time?
Really?
Really?
I'll remake the motion to close the hearing, close the meeting.
Who's going to re-second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all so much.